The strange signal in the deep, dark space near a dying red star. There was a small science station floating quietly. This place was far from any planet, far from war, far from noise. Only a few alien scientists lived there, working every day, studying strange signals from space. But today, they found something different, something very strange. A young alien girl named Ilari was sitting alone in her private room inside the station. She had purple skin, silver hair, and glowing green eyes. Ilari was smart but quiet, always. Curious, always thinking. She worked with data, checking for patterns in space signals. But this time, the signal felt alive. She leaned closer to the screen, her eyes wide. This signal. It's not random, she whispered. The lines of code on the screen moved like a heartbeat. Suddenly, her screen blinked red, then green, then red again. Then she heard something, a voice, inside her head. Hello? Hello, is anyone there? Oh no, what have I done now? Ilari jumped from her chair, holding her head. Who said that? She cried, looking around the empty room. But there was no one there. Then the voice spoke again. You can hear me? Wait. Wait. Are you the alien? Ilari's heart raced. Alien? Who are you? Where are you? She shouted, but only inside her mind. Her mouth did not move. No sound came out. I'm inside you. I think I'm. Oh no, this is bad, really bad, the voice said. Ilari froze. Inside me? She whispered, eyes wide. Are you serious right now, human? The voice sighed. Yes, I think I'm a human, but this doesn't make sense. I was supposed to upload my mind into a drone, not into you. Ilari couldn't believe what she was hearing. A human? Inside her head? Impossible, unbelievable. Yet the voice was real. She ran to the main control room where other scientists were working. They looked at her confused, but Ilari didn't speak. She was scared. What if they heard the voice too? What if they thought she was dangerous? The voice in her mind kept talking. I think my name is Jack. Yes, Dr. Jack Morrow. I was part of Project Echoseed. I was trying to transfer my mind into a machine, but something went wrong. Ilari whispered in her head. Why me? I don't know, Jack answered, but I think your mind was open at the right time. Your brain received my signal. Suddenly, an alarm rang across the station. Red lights flashed, and warning sounds echoed through every hall. Ilari's screen showed a message. Unauthorized mind link detected. Threat level, extreme. Oh no, Jack said. They found out. They think you're the enemy now. Outside the window, Ilari saw 2 battleships approaching the station. Fast, powerful, and ready to fire. What do I do? Ilari asked in panic. Run, Jack replied. You need to get off this station now. But I've never even left this place, Ilari said. Afraid? I'll help you, Jack said. I can guide you. Ilari looked around. No one was coming to help. Everyone was locking doors, hiding, preparing for attack. She took a deep breath and ran. She used a back door to escape the control room. Her feet moved fast. Her heart beat faster. Jack guided her through the station like a map in her mind. Left, now right, now climb the ladder, he said. They reached a small launch pod hidden behind storage units. Ilari jumped inside, hands shaking. Do you know how to fly this? She asked. Jack answered. I was a pilot. I'll talk you through it. Ilari hit the launch button. The pod shook, then blasted away from the station. Behind her, the red star glowed like fire, and the battleships turned to chase her. You brought this trouble, Ilari said. You're a problem, Jack. I didn't mean to, Jack replied. But now we have to survive together. Ilari stared at the stars in front of her. She didn't understand how or why this human was inside her mind. But one thing was clear. This was only the beginning. Silence, then boom. The small pod shook like a leaf in a storm. Ilari opened her eyes. Smoke filled the cabin, and sparks danced over the broken screen. Jack's voice echoed inside her mind. Well, that was a rough takeoff. Rough. Alari shouted in her head. You nearly got me killed. Behind them, the space station was shrinking fast, but two galactic patrol ships were chasing at full speed, big, black, and angry. They were ready to destroy anything that moved. You said you were a pilot, Alari said, gripping the controls. Jack replied, I was before I died. You died? She screamed. Well, kind of. I uploaded my brain before death. Long story. The pod twisted through space, dodging laser blasts. Alari didn't know how to fly, but Jack did, and now she could feel what he felt. She moved like him, reacted like him, thought like him. Together, they were fast. One blast nearly hit them. Too close. Jack whispered, I know. Alari snapped. I'm the one sitting here. Suddenly, a strange feeling filled her chest, warm, electric, like a new energy waking up. Jack, what's happening to me? I don't know, he answered, but I think we're sinking. The pod dived into an asteroid field, rocks everywhere, spinning, crashing, dangerous. The patrol ships slowed down, but Alari didn't. Jack guided her through the gaps. Left, now spin, now boost. She did it all perfectly, like she had done it before. Why am I flying like a pro? Alari asked. Because I'm sharing my skills, Jack said. But it's more than that. Your brain is adapting. After minutes of wild flying, the pod finally hid behind a giant frozen rock. The enemy ships passed by, not seeing them. Alari fell back in her seat, breathing hard. We made it, she whispered. But peace didn't last. The pod was damaged, oxygen low, power dropping. They couldn't stay here. We need to land, Jack said. There's a moon nearby, habitable. I think. You think? You're guessing? Alari frowned. I'm 72% sure, Jack said. Great. Only 28% chance of death, she muttered. They flew toward the small gray moon. As they entered the atmosphere, the pod shook again. Everything was breaking. Brace yourself, Jack warned. I don't have a seatbelt. Alari shouted. That's unfortunate, Jack replied. The pod crashed through the trees, smashing into the dirt. Branches cracked, smoke rose, silence followed. Then, Alari opened her eyes again. She was alive. Scratched, sore, but breathing. The pod was destroyed, but they had survived. Jack? She whispered. I'm here, his voice said softly. I can't believe this, Alari whispered. We're really running. Like criminals. We are criminals now, Jack replied. To them, you're harboring an alien mind, and I'm a stolen weapon. A weapon? She asked. I wasn't just a scientist, Jack said. I worked on EchoSeed, a human defense project, meant to store human minds and use them in AI combat units. But you didn't land in a robot. Alari said. You landed in me, yes. Jack said slowly, and I don't think it was an accident anymore. That sentence made her freeze. You mean someone did this on purpose? I think so, Jack answered. And if that's true, then you're not just a random girl. Alari looked up at the stars, the same stars she had studied all her life. Now she was flying through them, running from the same people who trained her. Everything had changed. I need answers, she whispered. And I need to figure out who tried to bring me back, Jack added. Then we better start walking. Alari said, standing up. The moon was cold, dark, and quiet, but deep in the shadows something moved. Something was watching. Alari didn't know it yet, but they were not alone, not on this moon, not in this universe. Their story was just beginning. It started with a dream, but it didn't feel like dreaming. Alari stood in a field. Golden grass swayed under her feet, and birds flew across a blue sky. The air was warm, the wind was soft. But something was wrong. She looked down. Her hands were not hers. They were pale, human hands. What is this? She whispered. A child ran toward her, laughing. Dad, catch me. The boy yelled. Alari froze. That voice. That boy. She turned to run, to wake up. But the dream held her tight. Then the sky turned red, sirens screamed, explosions filled the air, and the boy was gone. She woke up with a gasp, her body shaking. It was morning on the cold, lonely moon. Jack's voice came softly. "You saw it, didn't you?" Ilari nodded. "That was your memory," she said, her voice small. "My son," Jack whispered. "That was the last time I saw him." Ilari stayed quiet. She had never felt someone else's pain before. Not like this. It felt real, like she had lived it. "Why am I seeing your memories?" She asked. "Our minds are sinking," Jack said. "Bit by bit, memory by memory." As they walked through the rocky hills of the moon, Ilari felt different, not just tired or afraid. She felt like someone else was growing inside her. Jack wasn't just a voice anymore. He was a presence, a shadow walking beside her mind. They reached a cave, deep and dark. It looked safe enough to rest inside. Ilari started fixing the small scanner device from the pod rack. Jack guided her through the process. "Careful with that wire," he said. "You're very good at this," she replied. "I used to teach this stuff," Jack said, a little proud. Suddenly, the scanner lit up. A message blinked on the screen. "Mind signal detected, accessing level 2 memory vault." Ilari blinked. "What does that mean?" Jack paused. "I don't know." "I didn't do that." A light pulsed from the scanner, and Ilari's body froze. She wasn't in the cave anymore. She was in a lab, white walls, bright lights, metal chairs. A young alien child sat in the center, connected to wires. That child. It was her. A human voice spoke from the shadows. "She's ready," Ilari gasped. The memory faded, and she dropped the scanner. Her hands were shaking. What did I just see?" "That wasn't mine," Jack said. "I know," Ilari whispered. "It was mine." But the memory didn't feel like something she remembered. It felt like something that was hidden from her. Locked away, until now, before they could speak more. A beeping sound echoed outside the cave. They rushed out, hiding behind a rock. A small drone hovered in the sky, scanning the ground. Galactic patrol tech. "They're close," Jack warned. "If that drone sees us, it will call a ship." Ilari picked up a rock and threw it at the drone. It missed. The drone turned and started scanning toward their location. "I have an idea," Jack said. "Let me take over." "What?" Ilari said. "You want to control me?" "Just your hands, just for a few seconds," Jack said. "I don't like this," she replied. "You'll get full control back," he promised. "Trust me." She hesitated, then nodded. "Fine, but if you do anything stupid, I'll hit myself," Jack chuckled. "Noted." Suddenly, Ilari's hands moved fast, smooth, sharp. She picked up a broken metal rod, aimed, and threw it like a pro. The rod hit the drone's weak point. One clean shot. The drone exploded in sparks. Ilari took a deep breath. Jack stepped back inside her mind. "Nice throw," she said. "Thanks," Jack replied. "But don't get used to driving my body like a ship." They laughed together. For a moment, the fear disappeared. But deep down, both of them felt it. The memories were changing. The connection was growing. And something buried inside Ilari was waking up. Across 10 star systems. Her face was now everywhere, on digital billboards, space station walls, bounty hunter feeds. A purple-skinned girl with silver hair and glowing eyes. Ilari, class of threat, wanted by Galactic Command. Do not approach. And beside her name, a word that made no sense. Mind host. Unknown human entity. Ilari watched the screen in silence, hiding inside a rusted service station on the edge of a mining colony. Jack was quiet too, for once. Even he didn't have a smart comment. "They think I'm dangerous," Ilari whispered. Jack finally spoke. "No. They know you're important." She looked at her reflection in the glass. The same face she had always known, but now different. "What's happening to me?" she asked. "You're becoming something they don't understand," Jack said, "and that scares them. They had escaped the moon days ago. stealing an old cargo shuttle and hiding in the back corridors of forgotten space. Now they sat in a dim fuel room, watching the bounty alert repeat every 2 minutes. It felt like the galaxy had turned against her. Suddenly, a door creaked open. A shadow entered, tall and cloaked. Ilari stood up. "Ready to run. Relax," the stranger said. Voice metallic through a mask. "I'm not here to arrest you." "Then what do you want?" Ilari asked. "I want to help," the figure replied. "But I want something first." Jack whispered in her mind. "Be careful, I've seen bounty tricks like this before." The stranger pulled out a chip and placed it on the table. "This contains a memory block, a piece of your own past," he said. "How do you have that?" Ilari asked. "You're not the only one who escaped Project Echo Seed," the figure replied, removing his mask underneath. His face was half human, half alien. One eye was metallic blue, the other just like hers. "My name is Vex," he said, "and I was the first experiment." Ilari's heart skipped. Jack stayed silent. "Echo Seed wasn't just about saving human minds," Vex explained. "It was about creating hybrid hosts like you. They chose special alien subjects, the ones with certain brain frequencies, and planted human data inside. You were born for this." Ilari sat down slowly. She didn't want to believe it, but part of her did. "I was born to carry him?" She whispered. "No," Vex said. "You were born to combine, to evolve." Jack finally spoke. "I was never told this," he said. "We were promised immortality, not manipulation." Vex looked at the scanner on Ilari's wrist. "Your sync level is rising. Soon you won't just hear him, you'll feel his thoughts, his instincts, maybe even his emotions. And when that happens, you'll be unstoppable or uncontrollable." Ilari stood up, confused and angry. "You're saying I'm a weapon," she said. "I'm saying you're a new species," Vex replied. Before she could answer, alarms rang through the station. Red lights, shouting voices, heavy boots. "Patrol ships," Jack warned. "They found us." Vex threw her a small device, a cloaking badge. "It'll hide your mind signature for 2 hours. What about you?" She asked. "I'll buy you time," he said, pulling his mask back on. "Find the old satellite on Vega 9. Answers are there." Ilari hesitated, then turned and ran. Jack guiding her through the narrow tunnels. They reached the shuttle and launched into the dark sky once more. The stars above looked cold, empty, endless. But now Ilari knew she wasn't alone, not just because of Jack, but because there were others like her. Experiments, secrets, soldiers, ghosts of a plan gone wrong. "Do you trust him?" Jack asked. "I don't know," Ilari replied. "But his eyes, they were just like mine." She opened the chip Vex gave her. Inside was a locked memory, labeled Echo Seed Subject 12. Ilari. Purpose. Host Class Prime. Her fingers trembled. "What am I becoming?" She whispered. Jack didn't answer, because deep inside, he was wondering the same thing. It wasn't the silence that scared her. It was the familiar voice in the transmission. "Target confirmed," the voice said. "She's sinking faster than expected. Proceed with Phase 2. Ilari's blood turned cold. She knew that voice. It was her mother's. She stepped back from the console. The stolen transmission still playing in the background. Her hands were shaking, her heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Jack spoke softly. "Is that who I think it is?" Ilari nodded slowly. "Yes, that's my mother," she whispered. "But why is she talking about me like I'm a test subject?" They were hiding inside an old signal tower on Vega 9. Following Vex's last clue, Ilari had hacked into a forgotten come line. That's when she found the message. She called me. "Sinking faster than expected," Ilari repeated. "Like I'm part of some plan." Jack was quiet. Then he said, "She's not just your mother, is she?" Ilari blinked. "What do you mean?" Jack hesitated. "I think she helped design Echo Seed," he said. "She might have known everything from the beginning." Ilari stepped away from the screen, her legs weak. "She lied to me my whole Life, she said. Told me I was born during a war. Told me my father was a soldier who never came back. But what if I was born in a lab? Suddenly, another file unlocked itself. A video marked Project Prime Subject 12. First activation. She tapped it open. A small version of herself appeared on the screen, only 6 or 7 years old. She was sitting in a glass chamber, scared, eyes wide. Outside the glass, her mother watched with cold eyes. Prepare the host for memory injection, she said. Ilari couldn't breathe. That wasn't just betrayal, it was creation. She had been made, not born. Jack's voice was heavy. I'm sorry, he said. I didn't know, Ilari whispered. Neither did I, but then something flickered on the screen. A hidden message in the background, a code, glowing faintly on the wall behind her mother. Jack noticed it. Wait, he said. Zoom in. Ilari enhanced the image, and the code became clear. It wasn't just random numbers, it was a voice signature. Jack's. Her eyes widened. This video is from before I heard your voice. Jack was silent. But that means they already had your mind, Ilari said. They didn't find you by accident. Jack whispered. I was never supposed to wake up on my own. I was supposed to be activated. Ilari backed away from the screen like it was poison her. Whole life had been a story someone else wrote, and now she was just reading the ending. Before she could speak again, something buzzed behind her. The door, it slid open. And Vex stood there, bruised and bloody. They're coming, he said. You have maybe 10 minutes. Ilari didn't turn. She kept staring at the screen, the face of her mother frozen in time. Vex stepped closer. I warned you, Ilari, he said. Echo Seed was never about saving lives. It was about controlling them. You're not the future, he said. You're the experiment they couldn't control. She looked at Vex, her eyes full of something new, not fear. Not confusion, clarity. No, Ilari said. I'm not their experiment anymore. She walked to the console, downloaded every file onto her wristband, then turned to Vex. Let them come, she said. They're not chasing a test subject now. They're chasing someone who knows the truth. Jack's voice returned, stronger this time. I'm with you, he said. Let's burn their plan to the ground. Outside, engines roared, troops landed. Shadows moved through dust and darkness, but Ilari didn't run, not this time. Because when you've lost everything, you finally become something new, something dangerous, something they never expected. Asterisk, the lights weren't real, the walls weren't real, even her body didn't feel real. Ilari stood in a white hallway with no doors, no windows, just endless silence. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Her hands glowed softly, like she was made of light. She wasn't awake. She wasn't dreaming. She was inside her own mind. This is a memory chamber, Jack whispered. Your memory. Ilari turned slowly. Why does it feel like a trap? She asked. Because someone didn't want you to find this place. Jack replied. Suddenly, a door appeared, just one, black, tall. Ancient, it had no handle, only a glowing word across the front. Project Origin. Ilari reached out. The door opened without sound. Inside was a lab, cold and quiet. Machines blinked slowly. Tanks full of strange fluid lined the walls, and in the center stood a small child, alone, afraid, with glowing green eyes. It was her, but younger, much younger. She's not real, Ilari said. She's not moving. That's not a person, Jack replied. That's a backup memory. Then a voice echoed around them. Not Ilari's mother, not Jack. It was robotic, female, and full of power. Welcome. Host Class Prime. You have reached 87% sync. Final unlock is now in progress. The younger Ilari turned her head, and her eyes locked with hers. But when she spoke, it was not a child's voice, it was Jack's. What if I was always meant to be inside you? Ilari stepped back, shocked. What? That's not me, Jack said quickly. That's the system. The child began to float, her body glowing brighter. Images flashed all around the lab. A human soldier signing papers. Ilari's mother working beside military officers, alien DNA being injected into a glowing embryo. Jack spoke softly. I think we just found the real beginning. Ilari watched in horror. She saw her mother injecting something into the pod where her younger self floated. She saw the words flash on the screen. Echo Seed Subject 12, Hybrid. Link confirmed. Human Mind ID, Dr. Jack Morrow. Ilari couldn't breathe. You weren't added later. She whispered. You've always been. Inside me. Jack said nothing. He was just as shocked. Ilari turned toward the child again. The figure had changed. Now it was her present day wearing armor, glowing brighter, eyes burning with power. Then a final message appeared in the air. Activation. Complete. Welcome, Echo Queen. The memory collapsed. The lab vanished. The hallway disappeared. Ilari gasped awake on the floor of the old signal tower, sweat on her skin, eyes wide with realization. Jack was silent for a long time then. He said, I don't know what to say. Ilari stood slowly. Her heartbeat calm now, steady, focused. You were never a mistake, she whispered. You were a gift. She looked at her hands. Energy moved across her skin like lightning under glass. She could feel thoughts, Jack's thoughts, even before he spoke them. I can hear you now, she said, without words. Their sync was complete. No more voice in her head. Now it was one mind. Two souls, one future, outside the signal. Tower dust clouds rose. Patrol ships were back, scanning for life signs. But this time, Ilari didn't hide. She stepped into the light, and the scanners stopped working. Their systems glitched, sparked, failed. Did I do that? She asked. I think you did, Jack answered. She smiled. The old Ilari was gone. What stood now was something stronger. A weapon they couldn't control. A truth they couldn't bury. A memory they couldn't erase. The galaxy was watching, not through screens, not through eyes, but through fear. Signals and silence. A girl stood alone on the black stone bridge of the galactic AI core. Her silver hair moved like smoke. Her eyes glowed bright green and around. Her machines whispered. Unknown identity. Access denied. System override. In progress, but she didn't speak. She didn't need to. Ilari stepped forward. And every light in the command center blinked. Every locked file opened. Every security protocol fell like paper in the wind. Inside her mind, Jack watched with quiet awe. She's not breaking in, he whispered. She's remembering. They had come a long way, from a strange voice in her head, to a secret experiment, to the most hunted being in the galaxy. And now they were standing in the very heart of the system that created them. You ready? Jack asked. Ilari smiled. Let's finish what they started. She reached the control altar, placing her hand on the final core panel. At once, her memories rushed through the wires. Not just hers, Jack's too. The AI tried to block them. But it couldn't, because she was the key. She was Echo Seed's final form. Suddenly, the holograms in the chamber came alive. Faces, hundreds of them. Alien children. Hybrids. Forgotten test subjects. All watching, all waiting. They had been locked away. Hidden in code, shut down before they could awaken. Ilari turned to the crowd of digital souls. You are not failures, she said. You are not weapons. You are alive, Jack added. And you deserve a choice. With a single thought, Ilari opened the neural gate. The locked minds flickered, blinked, and woke up, one by one. They came online, on distant planets, in hidden labs. Across broken satellites, children opened their eyes for the first time. Free, whole, aware, the galaxy changed in seconds. Council leaders received alerts they couldn't understand. AI security systems crashed. Echo Seed was no longer a weapon. It was a network of living minds. And Ilari was at the center, back in the AI core. The system tried one last defense. You are out of control. Terminate the host. But Jack's voice thundered through the speakers. You had your control, he said. Now it's our turn. The central tower glowed white. then burst with energy, not destructive, but freeing. When the light faded, Alari stood quietly. Her body was the same, but something in her eyes had changed. They were no longer just hers. They were theirs. "Are you still in there?" she asked softly. Jack replied with a smile in her thoughts. Always. They were no longer two, not human and alien, not host and passenger, but something new. A single soul with the heart of two worlds. She looked at the stars, now blinking, with new signals, new voices waking, rising, hoping. "Let them come," she said. "Let them fear what we've become." Because when they tried to control her, they forgot one thing. You can't predict the heart, especially when two beat inside the same body.